Can you pull it up on the screen? Do you have it on the screen? I got a screen for it. It doesn't matter. No, I can do it.
You got to sign it anyway.
All right, Matthew Hertz. Here. KJ Garner.
Present.
Ashley Wilson, not here yet. John Norris.
Here.
Carrie Rogers. Here. AJ Haney. Ennis Saba. Courtney Ross. Here. Liz Riggs is unfortunately going to be stepping down from BPAC. But we got everybody else here tonight. All right. Was everyone able to review the minutes from last month's meeting? I think it was done earlier today. Any comments or edits on those?
Just, no comments on the specific minutes from last month, but I do have a request that we get them at least sometime earlier, I don't know, a week earlier, or at least 24 hours earlier, so we do have sufficient time to review.
I'd like to suggest that we get them within a noticed period. Isn't that 2 weeks?
Doesn't have to be 2 weeks.
No, but 2 weeks would be nice.
The other commission I'm on, we get the agenda like Friday before a Thursday meeting, so roughly a week.
The minutes?
The whole thing, the whole packet.
Okay.
The agenda, the minutes, and anything else to look at during the meeting.
Yeah.
So,
And I know NDOT's working on some more admin support for us for getting those minutes done, so thanks for doing that.
so the Friday, what day is this? Monday. So maybe the Tuesday before
Yeah,
the meeting
that'd
would
be
be. Is that appropriate?
Would be nice.
Okay. I make a motion that we receive the agenda on the Tuesday prior to the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Yeah, I think that'd be really helpful. All right, do we have a motion to approve the minutes? That being said. Do we have a second?
Second.
It is.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, minutes are approved. Any comments on the agenda for tonight?
Yeah, I want to add a couple items, but they would be under new business. So do I need to add them now or just bring
Yeah,
them
we
up
talk about it
later?
now.
Okay, I'd like to have a discussion item about the length of our meetings, since I think
Okay.
I don't remember voting on any kind of arbitrary time limit, so I'd like to get rid of it. And second of all, I'd like to add a permanent item to the agenda called advice giving or something. So if we pass a resolution about anything, we can say it's been noticed and it's on the agenda.
Okay.
Okay?
And I have an item that I'd be interested in adding to the agenda, which involves getting ahead of Walk Month, which is October. We were late on our resolution for Bike Month, so I'd like to go ahead and get us thinking about what we're going to put out for Walk Month, which is October.
Thanks, KJ. All right, we can discuss all three of those in the new business section. With those edits, do we have a motion to approve the agenda for tonight?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, agenda has been approved. We'll move on to public comments. I think we have 4 speakers who signed up tonight. You can come up to the podium and you guys have about 3 minutes to make your comments. I think I have Charlie Weingartner up first.
Good evening. First off, I wanted to say congratulations. Y'all are currently streamed on YouTube, Metro Nashville Network. Hi, Mom. Couple of quick comments on the effort to renew our League of American Bicyclists certification and Commerce Street. I'm kind of lumping these together because I feel like undergoing the process of reapplying for the League of American Bicyclists city certification, trying to go from bronze to silver, and also currently working on redesigning Commerce Street, seem kind of like a misallocation of our time and efforts We just submitted just a year ago and received bronze, and quite frankly, I've not seen enough done in the city that would really warrant us being elevated to silver. Similarly, although I agree Commerce Street bike lanes need to be redesigned, we have so many other projects that need to get attention, greater attention, and actually get implementation done before we should be allocating our resources to redesign a bike lane that we already have. If we do go forward with the League of American Bicycles application, I would request that the previous application's public comments were released publicly, because they've not been, and that also moving forward, there be some very hard deadlines on what we expect to see actually implemented across the city as it pertains to walking and biking infrastructure that could be enforced and upheld with that application. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, next up is Kim Unerdal.
Thank you. I'm Kim Unerdal, and I'm a new member of the Vision Zero Advisory Committee. I'm here tonight with my Germantown neighbor and chair of the Germantown Traffic and Parking Committee, Barb Carroll, to hear updates on 3rd Avenue, and we'd be glad to share our neighborhood perspective on those developments. I also have a separate request that I wanted to make today of BPAC. I'd like all of the pedestrian and bike safety advisory committees in Metro Nashville to join together in calling on NDOT to cease use of the make eye contact signs at crosswalks. I have a photo of one of these that I took today, if it would be helpful to see. Would you? Okay. There you go. I'll be making this request at the next Vision Zero committee meeting as well. While this seems somewhat trivial, the design of a sign, how we communicate about safety sends messages about how we think about safety. In this case, these signs send multiple messages, including blaming the victims of traffic violence, that it is their fault if they get hit. The signs also instruct pedestrians to do something that is not actually possible. There's no way to make eye contact with a driver who is texting, or as they run a red light, or as they speed through a crosswalk without even slowing, or who cannot be seen through their tinted windows. In addition, the design of these signs is cartoonish and makes light of a situation that, as the past few weeks have proven, has been demonstrated time and again in Nashville to be deadly serious. These signs were recently posted at the crosswalk where Dot Dobbins was killed in June, and a cyclist was seriously injured a few weeks ago. We need to stop sending these messages to the people who are being hurt by traffic violence. Thanks.
Thank you, Kim.
Would you like your picture back?
You can keep it. It's fine.
Thank you. We'll add it to the record.
All right, next up is Jennifer George.
I'm actually going to request see if Rebecca and Vicky could come up with me.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. First of all, thank you all so much for giving us your time. So we are parents of some elementary school students and beyond, but we've started a bike bus at our school in Inglewood, Dan Mills Elementary. We've been doing this since, I guess, back in the spring.
Yeah.
So recently, we've had a lot of really close calls with traffic. So bike bus has grown. We have 2 different meetup points. We have parents, children, and some teachers on bicycles, and we're basically commuting through our neighborhood to the school. The problem is that we have a lot of morning commuters, and there's one particular spot that has been particularly dangerous for our bike bus group, and that's on a road called RD Avenue. So we have motorists actually passing our huge group of children. And we have anywhere from 6-year-olds, maybe we've had a 5-year-old, but it's about 6 and up. And so we have cyclists of, all experiences. We're kind of trying to just keep them in a straight line, But when we have these cars passing us, they're going over speed cushions. It's a double line. Understand that you can pass cyclists on a double line as long as they're 3 feet. There's no way. There's not 3 feet. They're having to break the speed limit. They're going around us. There's a a curve with oncoming traffic that you can't see until it's too late. So, I mean, the other day, we actually had like 3 cars in a row just pass us. So I was having to shout to the front, to the leaders in the front who were about to make what they assumed to be a safe left turn because they weren't looking behind them at the cars trying to pass. So, because this has happened a few times now, and, you know, it's just, I wanted to get ahead of it before someone actually gets really hurt. So we're proposing potentially looking at, you know, expanding the school zone. The end of the school zone is like, I don't know, it can't be more than like 10 yards before our left turn off of RD Avenue. So we're gonna see if maybe expanding the school sign as well as maybe getting
Flashing lights, because, so
Yeah.
currently, our school doesn't have like flashing lights. It just says when children are present. So that
The
means
school
that
zone.
that person has to be paying attention, and normally if they're irritated with us, they're not really paying attention.
Right.
That it's a bunch of children that are on bikes. So I feel like we need like the flashing lights that, so it's just like whenever these are flashing, everybody should be slowing down to 15 miles per hour. Because if they were going 15 miles per hour, like the close calls would be a lot less, even if they were trying to pass us. And then if they're trying to pass us, they probably shouldn't be, honestly. There's not gonna be enough room. If you're even 2 abreast with 2 kids and 2 kids and 2 kids, with how much junk is on the side and whatever, like, there shouldn't be enough for them to pass. So
Right.
we had tried to reach out to our like Facebook page, and we had some positive feedback, but also some negative feedback from people where they were just like, well, are you following the laws? Are you following the rules? Are you doing? And we're just like, hey guys, we're just trying to be parents who encourage our kids to ride bikes, encourage our kids to get active in the morning before they start a long school day.
Right.
So we're just we're looking for ways to make those areas safer. If anybody were to have a thought on like a safer way for us to do the bike bus, like a path that would be safer or something, we would be open to that sort of
Yeah.
feedback. I just know y'all are in this field and have been for a long time, and we're just kind of dipping our toe in.
Right.
And we live in an area without sidewalks mainly, so we're all in the street a lot.
Yeah.
And even our street, Kirkland Avenue, has those chicanes. I think that's how you say it. Chicanes, whatever. And those are close calls, because a car is coming towards you, and when my kids are getting off the bus, and I'm keeping them on the same side that the bus let them off, a car is directly coming at them trying to go around that. And, you know, there's just these things that I'm like, if we're not gonna have sidewalks, like, how do we keep our kids safe? How do we keep our bikers safe?
Right, right, because it's really just an Inglewood issue, it seems. I mean, we have a lot of kids, we kind of are lucky to have like a 90s kind of vibe neighborhood where kids are on their bicycles, they're going to everyone's house. And we're trying to teach them how to be safe. And we're starting this community event, you know, we're a bike bus, and it's growing in popularity, like both groups. I mean, we might have like 60 people pulling into school on bicycles. It's a really cool thing, you know? But when we're worried about keeping our kids safe on our own residential streets and on the way to school, it's just like we're holding our breath almost every day, like what's gonna happen. And so another issue is just even the intersections directly next to Dan Mills Elementary School, the traffic backs up at these 4-way stops in the morning. And we have cars passing, you know, the cars that are just waiting to go their turn. And so then you have people even walking their kids to school, almost getting hit at intersections from cars just trying to go around long lines of traffic in oncoming lanes. So we're kind of like not knowing like the best means to address this, if there's like a solution, but we're open to, you know.
Y'all looking at it and maybe having some thoughts and that sort of thing, so.
Oh, I've got thoughts, don't worry. As an Inglewood resident, I'm fully empathetic. Who at NDOT interfaces with schools for school zones? Val, do you do it? Could you come up a second? Because my first thought, of course, is to go to the council member, but she's going to ask probably the same questions.
Val Martinez, Vision Zero Coordinator with the Nashville DOT.
So if a community organization, a PTO or anything, how would they start to ask for changes to the infrastructure around the school?
Yeah, so any concerns can go directly to staff at the individual schools. They do bring it up their chain over to, I believe it's like MNPS administrative staff who then forwards any concerns to NDOT. We meet with them monthly, and it usually in regards to any safety concerns they have. Up until, I would say about this month, everything was pretty much like an on-call basis. So we would go out, we can do some on-site inspections. Usually improvements were based off of, I guess I would call them like operational or maintenance needs, so striping and signage with no real funding dedicated to date, but very glad to announce that that has changed. So now we are taking a more proactive approach and addressing all MNPS schools, including charters and private. But again, due to limited staff time and funding, we're looking at about a 4-year timeline to be able to complete all safety improvements. 4 years. That would be for, again, a comprehensive and uniform school zone, like.
Oh,
and
okay,
signage
okay.
upgrades, as part of phase 1. So phase 2 would be going back and doing like traffic calming measures.
Okay.
This will be.
So they need to go talk to their principal first?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Can you do that?
Yeah, even if
Okay.
it's like not on school property, like if it's on the way to school, they'll still cover that.
A school zone is usually within like a certain amount of feet of a school. It
Okay.
varies per school. You can absolutely discuss any issues within the neighborhood that are affecting children, walking or biking or whatever mode to school. It's a conversation we're willing to have.
Okay, great. We did notice that like even the signs made it to the wrong side of the street with like end of school zone sign is on the wrong side of the street, and then across the street is the slow down school zone sign when you're actually leaving the school zone. So,
Yeah, there's a few things you're like, oh no, this is could
Yeah.
be confusing for people.
right. So, I mean, we appreciate knowing, where to get started. So thank you so much.
Why don't you do that, and I'll make sure that the council person and the school board member knows that it's important.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you guys so much. Any other speakers for public comment tonight? All right. We can move on to our subcommittee reports. I know we did not meet this month. We're currently kind of rearranging how our subcommittees are able to meet and working on switching to in-person meetings. Do you guys want to talk about that now, or do you guys want to talk about that later in the agenda when we talk about kind of new business and administrative stuff? We'll talk about it now. Yeah, so I think the initial plan had been to have subcommittee meetings at 4:00 before each BPAC meeting. So it would be in person and hosted on Metro property. And we could all meet together about an hour before the BPAC meetings. I know Brent looked into that and wasn't able to get this room for those meetings at 4:00 today. But if that's the time that works for most people, I think we can work on finding a room. Thoughts on that time, first of all?
Yeah, time would be okay for me. There is actually a small conference room right there that has a fridge for food, so we can have a snack. But it would probably also be adequate to fit members of the public should they wish to participate.
Okay.
I prefer that time to 6:30.
Sam, yeah, I think staying after meetings is going to get difficult for people that have families that need to get home. So I'd also prefer to do it before.
Agree.
Okay. Yeah, so I think Brent, if we can work together to try to keep finding a room. Yes, Robert.
Hey, Catherine, Robert Johnson, WeGo representative. Are you suggesting that all of the subcommittee meetings take place at the same time?
Yes, I think that would be the plan.
So one person would only be able to attend one subcommittee?
Yeah, I guess we could kind of move around potentially if you wanted to attend more. But I think that's, with our limited time that we have, I think it's the best way to do it for now.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the clarification. All right, so we will have this room until later tonight if we do want to meet after the meeting and just kind of discuss things in more detail about the subcommittees. But I think for now, it sounds like the plan that we're agreeing on is to meet at 4:00 on the Monday VPAC before those meetings and try to find a spot to do that.
Catherine, one other thing that came up when Brent and I were, and Courtney Stone and I were talking about our committee, is we currently have overlap for people that serve on 2 committees, so we will need to change that. So I think maybe a fresh sign up, everybody needs to pick one subcommittee, which with as small as we are, maybe we'll 2 per committee and one's got 3, whatever that number is.
Yeah.
But I do think, isn't that correct, Brett, that there are several that have overlap?
There was, yes.
So we need to maybe do a sign-up sheet or something. Or we can do it verbally now. Whatever you prefer, Chair.
Yeah, let's talk about it at the end. I think people can kind of pick and choose, and I think things will distribute out probably okay. All right, so we can move on for now and discuss more after the meeting briefly. So I think our first programmatic update tonight is on the docked bike share RFP.
This one? Do you want to drive or should I? I'll drive. Hi, everyone. How's it going? My name's Megan Matson. I'm the Transportation Demand Management Program Manager at NDOT.
And good evening, Commissioners. T.D. Schlafer with NDOT and the Transportation Licensing Division.
Okay, and we're here tonight to talk about the timeline of the procurement process for the docked bike share RFP or Q. We call it Q, I guess, but I've always called it RFP. And so this conversation initially started, at least with internal staff, on September 9th, 2024. We worked on collaborating internally and looking at peer cities and kind of cultivating what a docked bike share RFQ should look like and how we want to translate that into the Nashville market. And so we opened it last September 2024. And then I think maybe you want to talk to the TLC stuff.
I'll just say there's about a year's worth of timeline of events here, which will inform you kind of how we got to today. So let you digest that information, and we'd be glad to answer kind of questions about that timeline as it pertains to where the contract is now. It is with Metro's attorneys who are reviewing, and so we wouldn't be here available to answer questions about that kind of ongoing review process of the contract. But once that contract comes to a place where it's acceptable both to Metro and to BTS, I can tell you the next step would be a resolution to Metro Council. Any contract that exceeds 60 months must be approved by the Metropolitan Council. So at that time, we'd be asking Metro Council to review and approve that contract before we are under contract with BTS.
But we're happy to answer any questions about the timeline and the process that went into getting to where we are today.
I guess what's happened between April 10th and today? I guess that's about 5 months. Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of loosely familiar with this process, but maybe for the sake of others, yeah, we'd love just to, get that 30,000-foot view of what's happened the last few months.
Yeah, so you're familiar with us initially putting out the RFQ. So we put out the RFQ and negotiations were rejected in April of 2025. We just couldn't come to an agreement. And it was based on an infrastructure cost thing. During our RFQ process, we requested that the proposers be fully financially sustainable. We don't have grant money to provide docked bike funding. And so I think that because of that, it's a bit more of an investment for the companies. And so we had to kind of go back and redo the RFQ and redo it for a 10-year contract instead of a 5-year contract.
And how many companies participated?
Two.
B-Cycle and...
The other one was Drop Mobility, and to tell you quite frankly, we had one option that would have been sustainable financially based upon what was proposed.
Okay. So just to be clear, I think I heard you say that the contract is now with Metro Legal. So you have, I think you said April of this year, contract failed. but over the last few months, it has not failed?
We started over is what happened. So
Okay.
we resolicited it, a 10-year contract, a 10-year base contract with 2 5-year renewals, which is better for both sides, quite frankly. Under the 5-year term of the previous solicited RFP, the capital investment that's necessary to expand to a kind of a county-wide bike system, it just wouldn't have been possible with what BTS was proposing with their sponsor. So we've started over since April. We've gone through the process again, and we've selected again. BTS came out as the selection from the evaluation committee for a second time. We provided a draft standard contract to them with which they came back with exceptions. Those exceptions are now with our Metro Legal Department.
Did they give a timeline on how long it takes to redline that agreement?
You know, it was in excess of 20 pages. We spoke with legal on Friday. They had some questions, no timeline. They are working on it, and they understand they want it done. We want it done.
I can probably say more than they can because I read the proposal and the RFP, whatever it is, basically said, we're not going to subsidize bike share. Some cities do. And obviously, if you pay the bill, you get to say more about what happens. Their proposal is based upon selling advertising in the public right-of-way. So that, I don't know if that's an issue with anyone. It's been suggested to me. It might be an issue with some people, but we'll find out. So probably shouldn't say this, but in some ways it seems like it's an advertising company that runs bike share on the side. But I understand that the only way to finance it is either with this advertising, and I assume they're going to try and get a sponsor, overall sponsor, like other cities have. Is that part of their proposal?
Yeah, and I think that, I think I can say this, Vanderbilt has CMAQ funding that they're waiting on that is allocated for installing docked bike share, so that would be one
They haven't spent it yet?
They can't, and so, in the, in the TDM perspective, all of our CMAQ funding is expiring, like throughout the middle Tennessee region, so it's a bit of a stressful environment, but they have their CMAQ funding until 2027. So,
because Vanderbilt has wanted B-Cycle for at least 2 years, if not longer.
Yeah.
And they were somewhat disturbed to find out when they were dealing with it that there was no Metro contract. And that was at least 2 years ago.
And so
I'm glad to hear they still got the money.
Yeah, they have it in their budget.
So they're a possible sponsor, at least for part of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Because in other places like Portland, it's sponsored by Nike, for instance. And I understand Nike has some money. So we need a billionaire corporation, I guess, to sponsor it. So this has taken entirely too long, but I don't have to tell you that. It's pretty obvious. And so I've begun to wonder exactly what the O'Connell administration wants or doesn't want. So hopefully this will all get done as soon as possible. And maybe it's changed in the contract, but the proposal didn't necessarily promise any specific level of growth, did it? Did I miss something? As I remember, they basically said they would guarantee like 10% growth in the first year. Well, that's like 20 bikes.
I want to say ultimately, if my recollection's correct, it's 1,000 bikes, 150 stations over the next 10 years.
I think it's 150 stations over the next 10 years.
Over 10 years?
Yeah.
So, okay.
At minimum.
For some of us, 10 years is a long time. 10 days may be a long time.
That's why I'm confused because it must have been a month or two ago, they just, B-Cycle just installed a new station at Shelby Park, like right off 19th and Lillian or 19th and Boscobel, one of those streets there, kind of at that entrance, next to the dog park, if you're familiar with, like literally in the last month or two. So, I mean, I applaud that selfishly, but yeah, it's weird that they don't have a contract, the new contracts, it's part of this RFP process, but it seems like they're kind of business. And, I have the app and I can unlock a bike tomorrow without any issue, which again, I applaud, but it's just a little strange.
I believe the subject matter expert on how B-Cycle got here is sitting on your commission, but in general, what I can tell you is they predated the Metropolitan ordinance that created the SUMD category under which then they would fall, and it's just kind of, he's the man, he can tell you.
Yeah, I could give a whole speech. I'll send you. Actually wrote a history of B-cycle. I'll send it to you in case I haven't before. But that's what happened when the law was passed about scooters, and that's all anybody talked about was scooters. The definition included B-cycle. And I think the only people in town who realized it were Billy Fields and I sure wasn't going to say anything. So that's what took so long. So theoretically, they should have had a contract for, how long have we been operating, 5 years?
2018.
Yeah. But there's still no contract, which shows, the thing is, for various reasons, we've got, what are we at with dockless bikes? About 500?
Yeah, maybe 600.
Really? So we've got more bikes and bike share than in the history of Nashville, even though B-cycle hasn't grown. And when people think of bike share, they usually think of B-cycle because they've been around so long. But because we've, in essence, what have we encouraged the scooter companies to bring bikes by requiring it for the most part. We've grown far more in bike share on that side than we have with B-cycle. And as far as I'm concerned, a bicycle's a bicycle. I don't really care who's operating it. And I guess you could argue that dockless bike share is more flexible than B-cycle. There's never going to be a B-cycle station. Well, maybe there will be in 10 years, but there'll never be one close to my house probably. But I might be able to find a Lime bike, so.
Will the contract limit the addition of more dockless bikes?
No, separate contracts.
Because I can see them as being competition.
Could be competitive, or they could be cooperative. That's the approach we kind of encourage with all the companies that operate here in Nashville is let's work together to make it successful for everybody. But they are separate contracts, so no, there will be no direct competition on the number that we deploy.
Okay.
Other questions? Thanks for the update. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, if I could say one last thing, I don't know if you mentioned it, you're working on an RFP, new RFP or a queue for the dockless companies, correct?
That honor has been assigned to
Yeah.
me, so
That's what I thought.
I'm currently reviewing ones that have gone out recently in cities around us. Wouldn't say I'm in the drafting stage, but we're looking for that to come out.
Okay. In the ordinance that creates this commission, it talks about our micromobility as part of our responsibility. So I think we should be very involved in this because I got lots of ideas about what I'd like to see.
I'd be glad to come back anytime I'm invited.
Yeah, well, it might be every month once we get started.
Get a hold of Brent.
Because we decide the agenda, he doesn't. So, yeah, and apparently Nashville must think Nashville's a good market because there are several new companies that are interested, correct? Yeah.
I will say too, with the docked bike share RFQ, I think it's provided things that we know we want to incorporate into the dockless contracts for next year, so, yeah. Thank you.
All right, thank you, guys. Next up is an update on the Jefferson Street corridor study.
Good evening, everyone. I see my name is spelled wrong up there. It's 2 E's. So, and I'm Derek Peavy, and I am a planner with NDOT, and I'm a proud 2020 graduate of Tennessee State University. And I also earned a master's in urban planning from Auburn University as well. And this means a lot to me, and I am very proud to be working on the Jefferson Street corridor study. And so what I'm going to talk to y'all is what it is about, why it matters, and what we are doing now. So we have a long list of partners, leaders and institutions and agencies, and you can see them on our screen here. And I won't read all of them because we will be here all night, but all of them are very important to the work that we are doing. So here is a view of our study area. And it starts at Rosa Parks Boulevard, and it ends at 28th Avenue North, and it is a 1/4 mile radius around the corridor. So right now, we are in the listening phase. What do the people on Jefferson need to feel safe, to move, and to thrive? And then we will move into translating those ideas into actionable strategies, which will turn into the final plan. So right now, we are focused on Jefferson Street, which is, we are focusing on establishing the vision. And we plan to be in construction by 2029, although everything isn't set in stone just yet. So now, and I'm going to move into the history and the context of Jefferson Street in the Nashville area. From the 1930s to the 1960s, Jefferson Street was a center of Black life in Nashville. It was home to a strong medical community, small businesses, entertainment venues, and a tight-knit neighborhood. However, in the 1960s, 1,400 residents were displaced due to the interstate coming through the North Nashville area, which created a physical and social barrier and it isolated North Nashville. In 2016, the U.S. DOT's Every Place Counts Challenge brought folks together to reimagine the connection on Jefferson Street. And on the screen is a snapshot of the community ideas. And so I want to take a moment for y'all to read what was thought of in 2016. And so now we are moving on to our vision statement, and it is a little bit wordy, and so I also want to take a moment for y'all to read this as well, and I will give y'all some points of what we are still hearing in the North Nashville area. All right, so I'm not going to give y'all a pop quiz on anything, but I do just want to say that we are still hearing that they want a revitalized area, and they want new development while focusing on the history and harnessing that new energy as well. And so, in 2021, the city presented an interstate cap near Jefferson Street, and they told us that they did not feel heard, and so we found it very, very important to pause, and we took a step back, and we wanted to reset and rebuild the trust in the North Nashville area. And so that brings us up to today. And so our approach now is much more deeper and wider. The crown jewel is our community advisory board. And they are on the ground, boots on the ground, truth tellers for Jefferson Street. And we pair that with our online tools, and we also are mailing out postcards, and we are educating people on what is a complete street and also other things as well. So like, what are our next steps? We are focusing on hearing what does the North Nashville area want to see on Jefferson Street. And so we have 3 easy ways in that anyone can give input on this, and that'll be our websites and email and a photo line that you can call, and a person will most definitely reach back out to you. And so, like, what does success look like? It is simple to say, but hard to do. And so what we are focusing on is safer crossings and a continuous spine of mobility. And it'll be something that the North Nashville area asked for. So Jefferson Street is just not a corridor. It is history, it is culture, and it is home. Thank you for the time and the honesty for us to do this right. And keep reaching out to us, because we are listening and we are moving forward. Thank y'all so much. And so I'm here for any questions if y'all have any.
You may have covered this. Did you have a timeline of kind of what phase you're in next?
Yes, ma'am.
When does the listening phase end? Can we go back to the timeline just because
Yes.
I think that was at the very beginning, of course.
Yes, ma'am.
There we go.
Oh, right here or?
Yeah, the
or
next one.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
So it'll end, we're thinking about, well, we're not thinking about it, but we are aiming for mid-year of next year. Yes, ma'am.
Or to start doing some things, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Great.
Yes, sir.
That's on the other end of the.
Right.
Sorry about that.
And I'm so happy, and I want to say thank y'all for bearing with me, because public speaking is not my thing, and so I am excited to be able to present this in front of y'all. So thank y'all so much.
Let me ask a question.
Yes, sir.
You've done great.
Thank you, I appreciate it, yes.
Jefferson Street has such a rich history in terms
Right.
of
Yes, sir.
music venues and performers. I mean, I'm looking here, Jimi Hendrix,
Yes.
B.B. King, Little Richard, on and on. Is there any thought to a music venue?
Well, there's actually a music venue now, and it's called the, I think it's the Jefferson Street Sound Museum, and it has a studio in there where you can go in there and make music and stuff like that. But we are trying to bring that vibrancy back. So, yeah.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I have a quick question for you about the study materials from 2016. So
Yes.
we're now it's going to be 10 years out next year
Right.
from that.
Yes.
You're still collecting more information, but how useful is that prior study information? How much information is that giving you all to go forward?
We've actually started from scratch because it's been almost 10 years, and so we wanted to make sure that we are hearing what the North Nashville area wants currently, but we've heard many of the same things though. So we are just making sure that the people are heard and that we can give this area a plan that works and that we are ready to implement.
I just have a quick
Yes, sir.
question, and this is excellent. If you're asking for our opinion I think is pretty simple. We want walkability and bikeability on the
Yes,
on the
sir.
new corridor.
Yes, sir.
What can we do as a commission to support this project?
What I would think is to just tell everybody that, you know, in the area to please come to our meetings, because we want everyone to be able to have their voices heard. And we just want to make sure that this is something that we can really give and that honors the North Nashville area. So please tell everyone that y'all know in that area to please come to our meetings and stuff like that. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like the corridor, I know the ends are Rosa Park and 28.
Yes, sir.
Other streets on the side, because I saw it was like 1 block off the beach.
Right. Yes, sir.
Did it go all the way up to Buchanan, or was it before that?
Yes, it ends at Buchanan, it looks like, and on the bottom one, I think that's Charlotte, yeah. That's Charlotte Avenue.
Okay, so Charlotte to Buchanan. Okay.
Yes, sir.
The interstate does cut right through there.
Right, yes, sir.
And that,
Oh, no, sir, I'm sorry, that's not Charlotte Avenue. I'm looking at that, like, that is Charlotte Avenue down,
Hadley Park, yeah,
Mhm.
at that border of Hadley Park.
Right.
So that's,
that's right there where Hadley Park, it turns into Pearl Cone High School. Right there.
so it does include Fisk and Meharry,
Yes, sir.
but not Pearl Cone or.
Yes, sir. All right, any more questions, y'all? All right, well, thank y'all so much, and y'all enjoy the rest of y'all evening.
Thanks so much for coming. Really appreciate it. We'd love to be involved going forward. Just let us know what we can do.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you. All right, next up is Val Martinez, talking about the response to the crashes on 3rd Avenue.
Val Martinez, planner and Division 0 coordinator of the Nashville DOT. Here to talk about the 3rd Avenue Greenway crash response. So this is some text taken from the original report. On Sunday, June 8th, 2025, at 19:32 hours, MNPD responded to a vehicle crash involving a pedestrian. The crash occurred on 3rd Avenue North near Van Buren Street. The pedestrian was transported to Vanderbilt Hospital, where they were pronounced deceased. The preliminary investigation indicated a motor vehicle was traveling north on 3rd Avenue North. The pedestrian was crossing 3rd Avenue North and appeared to be inside of a marked crosswalk when struck. At the time of the investigation, the driver did not show signs of impairment. All streetlights near the crash appeared to be working. This shows a bit more of an accurate description visually of where the crash occurred. So it was actually north of Van Buren Street. If you're familiar with this area, in like the Germantown neighborhood, it was right at the Greenway connection, just south of the new Central Dog Park. This is current street view of the 3rd Avenue North and Greenway connection. ADT is 7,149 cross-section, 2 travel lanes, and outside bike lanes without protection. Posted speed limit is 25 miles per hour. We did pull a 3-year crash history, taking a look at 3rd Avenue North, Coffee to Jefferson Street. We did see a total of 33 crashes, including 1 fatality. 4 of those crashes did involve pedestrians. 21 were property damage only, 2 were serious injuries, one fatality and one involving a pedicycle, which were reported crashes. Just a bit more information on the crash report itself of when crashes happened. Majority of them within the 3-year history happening in 2023. Manner of first collision. Most of them are no collision with a vehicle. Again, majority of those first harmful events were vehicle in transport. So some safety improvements that have happened or will be happening on this corridor included some tree trimming by the Parks Department. Pedestrian hybrid beacon is expected in the near future. We are taking a look at installing some raised crosswalks in at least 3 locations, some rumble strips, temporary rectangular rapid flashing beacon, some pedestrian yield signage, some stop signs, and a flashing red sign. This is some photos that were taken, I believe, sometime last week. So you can here see some of these pedestrian yield signage paddles installed in the center running lanes. We've got some ped signage, again, that marked crosswalk. Here you can also see a stop sign with a new red flashing sign.
Question, was the pedestrian ahead sign shown in the photograph there at the time of the incident?
The one in the middle, it was not.
The one off the road on the right side?
Yes, there was signage, but at the time of the crash, there was no rectangular rapid flashing beacon.
Right, but there was a
A ped crossing sign, yes.
Brightly colored ped crossing sign, thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Val, can you go back to the last slide? So that stop sign is like right at the crossing, is that correct? What's the rationale for having it right there instead of pulling it back maybe about 10 to 20 feet?
I am not certain. Yeah, we could get back to you on that one. The stop sign is a temporary measure and will be removed, I believe, when the pedestrian hybrid beacon is installed.
I think that a couple slides from TDOT, it showed that there were, was it 33 incidents, crashes? Whatever,
33 that had been reported.
in the last, was it?
3 years.
3 years. I mean, 33 seems like a lot. You know, I think one is too many, but how does that compare with other high traffic like, is that, like, does that shock you and your team as like, holy moly, that's a terrible intersection, or is that normal by?
This, I think, has received a lot of media attention and public outcry. This is not one that we had been heavily focused on for safety improvements prior to some of the more publicized crashes.
Can you say more about the rationale behind a PHB at this location?
Yeah, so the PHB was in partnership with Metro Water. A pedestrian hybrid beacon, or PHB, is not something that we would normally do through fatal crash response because it's not really considered a quick build. It's certainly one of the more expensive countermeasures that we can install on our roadway. It takes a lot more to coordinate with adjacent signals, but Metro Water had agreed to fund some of this project, so we are moving forward with a pedestrian hybrid beacon as a result of the fatal crash response.
Where else can we find one of those? I'm trying to visualize what that looks like.
Yes, there's some on Lafayette. There's also
So one of A, kind of close to where the piano bar is, or like right past. Past the leaves. Past the circle.
Yeah, for those who don't know what a pedestrian hybrid beacon is, it is an overhead signal, so pedestrians can push a button. It signals to vehicles someone is using the crosswalk, and it flashes red for them to alert them to stop. The Mumbrian, yes, in the location.
Yeah, my understanding with PHBs is they're typically more useful for places that have multiple lanes, kind of long crossing distances, very high traffic volumes, higher traffic speeds. I mean, it seems like a raised crosswalk would honestly be a simpler and cheaper option here. So I'm curious why we're spending the money to put a PHB here when we could be putting it like on a pike where it's actually
No, that's
maybe a
a
little more needed.
very good question, or a very good point. So we are looking at doing raised crossings. We have funded designs. No construction dollars have yet been allocated for it, but we think that we can do both. So again, without partnership from Metro Water, we couldn't pursue the PHB at this time.
Is Metro Water only funding the PHB?
That was the agreed upon countermeasure.
Just trying to kind of figure out the rationale. I mean, I think we all agree that something needs to be done here, but I think, standing at the intersection, it seems like a really simple place to fix. The road's not that wide, the traffic volumes aren't very high. Vertical elements like speed cushions or raised crosswalk, plus I think some stop signs would really be a simple, cost-effective way just to fix this immediately. So again, totally support the attention this is getting. I'm just wondering why the rationale, is being given for a PHB when that might be used somewhere else.
Yes, we're certainly evaluating other locations in Metro, specifically the Pikes, somewhere that's on a high injury network for PHBs. But it is cost prohibitive to install them. So with partnership for Metro Water on this specific location, we were able to pursue a PHB. But I agree that there are other locations that we're interested in installing these.
Do you know if that met MUTCD guidelines for this location?
At minimum, MUTCD guidelines requires an RFB, the rectangular rapid flashing beacons.
Okay.
So this would be above that.
Right. I think there are like traffic volume and pedestrian volume requirements as well.
Yes.
That I'm not sure if would be met there. And speed requirements too. And I would also mention that, I think PHB is, again, great, I think in certain locations. It also places the burden on the pedestrians to have to hit the button every time. And just judging from the volume of people that cross there, I think we should be making vehicles stop every time and not requiring someone to push a button each time they would like to cross. But again, I appreciate the attention to this. Just if we could stay updated, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
And you mentioned a couple other locations for raised crosswalks you're also looking into. What were those?
Yes, so right now we are scoping 3rd and Buchanan, 3rd and Coffee, and then 3rd and the Greenway.
Do you have a timeline on any of those?
Yeah, so we're expecting design to be completed, I would say sometime in the winter, at the latest spring of next year.
Okay.
We don't have construction funding just yet, so we would be looking to a future CSP.
Gotcha.
Did anyone on behalf of NDOT prepare a written report or analysis of what infrastructure improvements might have prevented Dobbins' death or the subsequent bicyclist injury?
No, we do, after any pedestrian or cyclist fatal crash, a group of engineers and planners do go out on site and we review existing conditions, but we would make recommendations for short-term and long-term improvements, but we don't try to make recommendations for what could have prevented the crash. Oftentimes we know that it's speed-related, and we could say that a complete reconfiguration may have prevented the crash, but it's not necessarily a recommendation that we could implement, within a shorter amount of time.
What records are prepared concerning those site visits?
We take a look at ADT, at cross sections. We take a look at time of day. We take a look at, I guess, the initial findings from the police report, so a variety of details. I'd be happy to share with you all the initial report and recommendations for this crash.
After the bicyclist crash, was a conclusion reached as to whether the improvements that had been made were adequate?
So we only go out and do these on site for fatalities, we're not notified if a pedestrian or cyclist is hit unless it's a life-threatening or fatal crash.
What do you mean by life-threatening?
It would have to be a serious enough injury to where they're requiring medical attention and it is believed that there's some percentage that they may not survive those injuries.
Yeah. And in your opinion, the bicyclist was not severely enough injured to warrant?
There are national crash guidance and language to what's considered like a life-threatening or a serious injury crash. So a crash severity is ranked on like a certain scale, and there's specific like national guidelines for that.
Okay.
The whole process you were talking about, is that separate from what the fatal crash team with MNPD does?
Yeah, so MNPD is the first on site, so it would be them, maybe the fire department, depending on the instance, maybe there's like NDOT crew there to assist with any like necessary road closures or cleanup.
I know,
Myself
but
and the engineer is not on site until a week, 2 weeks later.
But MNPD still has a fatal crash team, don't they?
Yes, they do.
And so they do a final report, although it takes them a while to do it, correct?
The initial report is usually released, at least to NDOT, within a few hours. After that, there is, I would assume, some additional discussion with legal, with families. NDOT has secondary communication, I would say a month later, to find any additional details that they
No,
may.
I'm talking about the MNPD fatal crash team.
Yes.
And in the past, when I've dealt with it, they did a final report that was very complete. That's what I'm talking about. Do you get the copy of that?
We do not.
You don't?
No.
You can. It's public record.
We can check into that.
Okay. Would you get a copy of it for all of us?
I would have to ask. There is oftentimes very sensitive information.
It's public record after they release it, because I've done
I
it in
can
the
look
past.
into it.
Unless they've changed the Public Records Act.
We can look into it, yes.
Because I've dealt with, in the distant past, a couple of incidents, including when Elena Zamora was killed back in, God, this has been a long time, 2014, 2015. The state law was changed. The person who killed Elena Zamora downtown got a $500 fine. And so we changed the law so that at least now the person who kills a pedestrian or a bicycle rider can get, excuse me, up to a year in jail. And I understand, isn't part of Vision Zero enforcement?
Yes, it is one of the 5 E's.
Okay, how is the perpetrator of the death of Dot Dobbins being enforced?
NDOT is not currently tracking the legality of the crashes. We were more concerned on the engineering aspect of the 5 E's.
But you're in charge of the Vision Zero Advisory Commission, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, are they looking into enforcement?
Not at this time.
Why not, if that's part of Vision Zero?
We have had initial discussions. MNPD has been present and attended one meeting since I have been the Vision Zero coordinator. There are opportunities for improvement. I'm happy to take any suggestions.
Well, why don't you find out what the district attorney is doing?
Yeah.
He was charged with that specific law I'm talking about. That was changed after Elena Zamora was killed. And he was charged with failure to yield, I think is what the actual charge is. And I'm pretty sure there's some people who would like to know what the outcome of that charge is, especially considering the person who did it.
One final question real quick, Val. Do you have any comment on the signs that were mentioned in the public commentary period about asking pedestrians to make eye contact?
As a part of our recommendations, we have never recommended those signage to be up on to be included. We have not made that recommendation.
Okay. Do you know why they were put up at that location?
No, I don't, but we can get back to you on that one.
Okay, thanks.
You'll find out who installed them?
Yes.
I think we can all agree that those are not helpful and should not be used going forward. Thanks so much, Val.
Thank you so much.
All right, next up is an update on the Ascend Greenway contract, which I know we got a little bit of information about over email today. David, if you're able to provide any information or just take questions, I know it's still kind of work in progress.
Yeah, David, Metropolitan Greenways. Yeah, so we did provide a brief statement, Brent, obviously we passed along, at least to chair, and help all of you. But there is legislation that's going before council this week to employ a new operator for the Ascend Amphitheater. Part of that agreement includes provisions for relocating and enhancing the greenway, so the segment of the greenway that's currently within the facility will be relocated outside of the operating area so that the greenway can be open and accessible to the public at all times. So it's certainly an improvement to the greenway system. At this point, we don't have, Greenways does not have any plan set that's been submitted that I can provide to the commission. Yeah, thank you, Brent.
Does that require 3 readings at council?
Frankly, I don't know.
Okay, because that's sort of important. Because if it's on the agenda Tuesday, that would just be first reading and it'd be discussed at second reading. So can you find that out for us and let us know?
Sure.
Before Tuesday. In the contract, it says that $1 million is required for the reconstruction of the greenway. Did that figure come from the bidder or from Parks, or where did it come from?
Frankly, I do not know that.
Okay. There are some preliminary, I don't guess they're designs, but at least maps, graphics of what's going to be changed that's in the contract. Is that a proposal from Gaylord, or is that from Parks Department?
I was not party to the contract. Is at its core a contract for services for management of the facility.
Right. Yeah,
so it was spearheaded by another division within Parks. My understanding of the plans that are exhibits to the agreement is that they're conceptual.
Oh, yeah, it was just little green lines on a map, but it obviously was making some changes on the backside of the theater. And it didn't look like it was making any changes on the front side that would take you up to Rolling Mill Hill, which is where it was always closed, okay? Because Parks would never push Live Nation to do the right thing, okay? That was the problem in the past. It wasn't just the vendor, it was your department, because you didn't really care, just out of, but at any rate, so does Gaylord have any plans about what they intend to do? Because it'll be their responsibility, correct? Or are they just funding it?
Well, my assumption is that they'll hire a design firm to develop plans for the solution.
They will, or you will?
My understanding is that that will be something that will be done by the
Gaylord
contractor, yes, sir.
Okay.
But again,
Surely it's subject to Parks Board approval, though, isn't it? I would think, hope.
frankly, I don't know what the process is going to be for this. It's a little bit different from what we normally see.
Yeah, but, I mean, you approve anytime you take grants from the Friends group, so surely you're gonna, the board would have to approve anything that Gaylord's gonna do. That's pretty major, will presumably be major construction if it's costing $1 million.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we would like to see it before, as soon as there's something to see, we would like to see it. Okay?
Yes, sir.
And if we need to get Gaylord in here to talk about it, I'm pretty sure they'll do that.
Thanks so much. Yeah, it stipulates in the contract that the greenway must remain open at all times, which is a great improvement.
Yes,
I mean, it looked like there was, again, what Kara's referring to, kind of a dotted line going like toward like the riverside of the amphitheater. They were calling it bridge connections. I don't know if they're going to be building a bridge and like elevating it or how it's going to work, but taking it kind of outside that footprint. But there was clear language that it has to remain open even during events. And there was some good, I think some good restrictions on, you know, why they cannot close it. So overall, it sounds like a good improvement. Appreciate the updates. And yeah, if there are designs to look at, we'd love to look at them.
yes, ma'am.
It looked like they were planting some trees between the greenway and the theater, because the goal all along was to keep anybody from watching for free. So if they plant some trees, that's a good thing too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, and our final presentation is from Anna Dearman talking about Commerce Street.
Hello, Anna Dearman, walking and biking manager at NDOT. You all are probably familiar with Commerce Street, but this is just a quick update on our current status and also just bringing everyone up to speed on how we got here. So the history of the Commerce Street bike lane is storied, but in a nutshell, it was originally and is still really in demonstration project status. And so it's not installed in a permanent, durable format. So that was implementing the Walk and Bike 2017 plan around 2021. Third Ave was also supposed to be constructed and was not constructed. The signal modifications that would have helped facilitate the two-way cycle track were not implemented at that time as a demonstration project. And so all of those things have really resulted in commerce not really functioning super well for any user. And so with repaving the street in 2023, we proposed to convert the bike lanes to protected bike lanes on both sides instead of the cycle track on one side. At the time, the Renaissance opposed that proposal. The Renaissance is a hotel located on the corridor. And so the cycle track was replaced with temporary striping at that time. And we've proceeded with developing a redesign with protected bike lanes on both sides that I'll share tonight. Since that time, the management at the Renaissance has turned over, and so we've had the opportunity to have conversations with new folks. And so we're currently coordinating with the Renaissance on their valet permit and their operations adjacent to their site, and then the way that the bikeway is designed. So what I'm going to share tonight is sort of a test fit showing like the footprint of those protected bike lanes on both sides, and then the various cost estimates for different options, just so you get an idea of the alternatives analysis that's underway right now. So this is probably hard to see, maybe a little bit easier for you all with screens in front of you, but this segment would extend between 10th Ave and 2nd Ave. There are no bike lanes on the block between 9th and 10th right now, but this would connect to that new facility. So this would not necessarily be paint and post, but this shows you how the dimensions would fit within the existing curb. These are also still in revisions, these plans. So you can see this would be a bike lane with a buffer, which could have vertical protection on both sides. We're moving east. The street widens. There are turn lanes. At this point, the design doesn't sort of wholesale reconfigure operations at the intersection with turn lanes and things like that. This is, like I said, a test fit. If we want protected bike lanes on both sides, then what's the general shape of that? Continuing east, we now have on-street parking and other curbside operations to accommodate. And so this is, let's see, the block between 7th and 6th Aves, which is the block where the Renaissance is located. And so we proposed a parking protected, or it would really be like a loading zone protected bike lane So the bike lane would be beside the curb, and then parked vehicles would be part of that vertical barrier between the driving lane and the parking or the bike lane. We proposed this to Renaissance initially. They are pretty committed to their current valet operations, and so we're negotiating that right now. And then the similar configuration, you sort of parking or loading protected bike lane continues east. This is Repton Lewis or Fifth Ave. Obviously, introducing conflicts with turn lanes, those are things to be worked out. The street narrows, and so it gets a bit more constrained. Like, we still have the opportunity to do parking protected, but we have less space to do a buffer or something like that. As you all probably know, 2nd Ave, 3rd Ave, 4th Ave are proposed to be converted to one-way with Connect Downtown, and so that provides space and opportunity to reconfigure the intersections and to get us a little bit more space to protect the bike lane. So again, all of this is very much like up for comment. Changes are totally possible. This is just a test fit. And then the block between 2nd and 3rd Ave, the 2nd Ave conversion project is underway right now. And that project team has taken over the design of that block. There's a lot of development and pressure on that block, as I'm sure you all are aware. And so that conversation has now been separated out from the remainder of Commerce. Before we get to the cost estimates, to the public comments, earlier, Commerce is just one of many mobility lanes downtown. And so one thing that we're discussing with the mayor's office right now is, if the Choose How You Move mobility lanes go in, or if all of the Connect Downtown Phase 1 mobility lanes go in, where is Commerce on that priority? Commerce is scheduled for an upgrade as part of Phase 1 of Connect Downtown, which ends next in 2027. 2026 or 2027. And so it was always planned to be a priority upgrade as part of Connect Downtown implementation, having discussions around how all of that gets sequenced. And then here are the cost estimates. So if we do, there are lots of different ways to do protected bike lanes. It can be two-way on one side, one-way on both sides. It can be sidewalk level, so that's basically extending the curb, raising the bikeway with concrete. There are examples of that in town, with greater or less success. And then you can also, of course, have a concrete buffer between the bike lane and the driving lane, like on 12th Ave, like on Demumbrian and Hill. So a few options there. This kind of costs that out at a high level. And then similarly, a raised cycle track could have concrete protection or could be raised to sidewalk level. And so this is what that cost estimate looks like. What questions do you all have about the status or design options or priority?
How long in feet are we talking about here?
Oh, good question. So this segment of Commerce is 8 blocks. And so, let's see, that says 4,000 linear feet of saw cutting asphalt, which is probably both directions. And so it's probably about 1,000 linear feet, which is like I'm really bad at math. It's less than a mile.
Fifth of a mile, okay.
Yeah, it's a few thousand linear feet.
Okay.
I could get the exact length to you. I just don't have it off the top of my head. Yeah, that's probably not accurate because of how the other numbers compare. Sorry. What other questions do you have?
Could you go back to that a second? Yes. what is the price of a plastic stick compared to a linear foot of concrete?
So, let's see, each plastic stick, which are they're typically placed 10, 20, 40 feet apart.
Yes, they are.
And the price ranges depending on who installs it. So it's from $150 to greater than that if like a contractor installs it. The cost of a plastic delineator separated bike lane in full is about $100 a linear foot. And then, I'm sorry, $100. Sorry, I'm trying to think of how this goes again.
It's okay, don't
Math is
worry.
really not my strong suit, but I usually know it better than this. A
Round
protected
numbers
bike
are
lane
fine.
costs about $5 million a mile because the estimate for 12th Ave, which is 1.6 miles, was $7.1 million. It came in a little under that, so that's good news. A neighbor weighs about $10 per linear foot, I believe, and a flexible delineator separated bike lane is about $100 per linear foot, I believe.
Yeah, it's fine, not just
Yeah.
looking. The thing about it is 12 South was done the full, rumba or whatever, the whole thing. It doesn't have to be done like that, does it? I mean, you can use concrete curbing at a much lower cost than what 12 South or Demonbreun was done, correct?
Yeah, so 12th Ave and Demonbreun to a lesser extent both included stormwater management, which could be required anywhere where we still have a combined sewer stormwater system, which is downtown. And the reason for that is because Metro Water would like for us to fully separate the stormwater and sewer systems, but we're doing a transportation project, not a utility project. And so we've taken the approach of mitigating conditions, somewhat with stormwater management through bioswale. So there's a bioswale at the corner of Demonbreun and 14th. It's not sufficient to solve the issue on the corridor, but it is sometimes a negotiation and a requirement with Metro Water, and we can expect the same on the downtown mobility lanes. We can expect the same on Church Street, for example. Chestnut Street, we're having that conversation with them right now.
Why is it required? Is it just because they want it?
Well, so there are stormwater safety standards as well as transportation safety standards having to do with the spreads and flows of water, and I am not a stormwater engineer, but when when someone driving encounters water like that on the roadway, that's a safety concern. And so they're trying to mitigate those conditions. It has to do more with transportation safety as it relates to on-street stormwater than stormwater more broadly when it comes to changing the curb.
But you know what I'm talking about. Other cities are doing it at a lower cost than what 12 South cost, correct?
Yes, and we are also doing it at a lower cost than what 12th Ave
No,
costs.
I meant concrete. I don't mean the plastic sticks. Concrete.
Yes, well, we are looking at concrete as well. We are now going to pilot concrete curb that you can bolt into the roadway to upgrade Cahal, for example, or Cahal in East Nashville. And so we have other options as well. It certainly does not have to be bioswale protected bike lanes. And in fact, these estimates, there's not enough room for bioswales on Commerce. And so these estimates are concrete curb. Yeah, but if you were.
Or Jersey barriers. I mean, they're smaller, they're sort of junior Jersey barriers, aren't
They're not the Toronto barriers, if that's what you're asking about. There's so many different options.
Sure,
It could be cast in place, it could be bolted. This assumes cast in place concrete curb, monolithic concrete curb. And so this would be not bolted into the ground, but poured into the ground. So it would be like on Demonbreun Hill at the roundabout.
Better than nothing.
And to that point, if you were to estimate Demonbreun Hill at the roundabout with the narrower concrete curb versus Demonbreun Hill at 14th with the bioswale, like that sort of cross-section would cost a different amount because one has an engineered bioswale and one has a concrete curb. What other questions or comments do you all have?
Question. You said, I think, that the cost of concrete barriers to protect bicyclists is about $5 million a mile.
For 12th Ave.
Okay.
Yeah, and Demumbrian Hill, because it's shorter, it included a lot of components. It included the PHB, as you all acknowledge. And so it was just as, if not more expensive per mile, but it's about 2 blocks long. And so it's not really statistically valid to cost it out over the course of a mile, if that makes sense.
How does that compare with the cost of a 4-foot wide sidewalk?
Ooh, I don't know the current cost for sidewalk. It's been as much as $700-800 per linear foot. Sidewalk also sometimes requires right-of-way acquisition, which is an additional cost. You're buying land, and it typically requires stormwater design as well. Sometimes up to or over half the cost of the project can be dealing with stormwater. Our sidewalk manager had to leave, but we can certainly get an update of those costs.
But the concrete barriers are on a per linear foot basis considerably less expensive than a sidewalk.
I would say in general, less so than sidewalk, because you can design them like on Upper Demumbrian Hill with gaps so that you're not having to deal with those stormwater issues so much, and you're not having to require right of way, and so you're avoiding some of those costs.
Thank you.
What other questions or comments?
Thanks, Anna. Thanks for all your work on this. I know it's a complicated stretch we've been talking about for a long time, so it's good to see some new plans come into fruition. And yeah, I mean, I agree. I think this bikeway's always been unfinished, and that's the frustrating part about it. It's a really important connection that just has never gotten the priority that I think it needs. And I think, the overall success of this bikeway really depends on the quality of protection that we give it. So I would put a lot of effort into making sure that we're not just throwing up some delineators and calling it a day like we did last time. I know there are like the modular concrete curbs that have like the stormwater cutouts. There are a lot of options, as we said. But I think something more robust that is actually going to keep cars out, I think is going to be really important to the success of it. What are the next steps, and how can we kind of stay informed on this?
Yeah, so if you have opinions, if you have a position on the design, whether it's something broader like you just shared or more specific, like we think it should be this configuration or we have these specific comments on the plans, I believe you all have access to this set of plans. Please share that feedback. However, if you want to put together a memo or something like that, I'm not sure what you want to do, that could be helpful. We will have revised plans, maybe even multiple sets, not sure at this point, but I'll make sure that you all get those. And then other than that, I would just advocate that these negotiations in the community are, it's about authentic relationship building, right? And so a conversation that you might have with a stakeholder in a certain forum might look different if you're meeting someone for coffee. And I'm just saying that I think continuing authentic community conversation around these projects and around these designs is helpful for all of us to meet our shared goal of community building and help those of us who are interested in transportation safety and mobility meet those specific goals. So I just encourage you to continue the community conversation. Anything else?
Thanks. We appreciate the update. Yeah, I think just transparency would be helpful in this. I know we all, remember a couple years ago when we had plans to do a very similar project and then it just kind of went away. And it turned out that, we kind of allowed an entity to veto those plans without a lot of public knowledge about that. So I think we're past that point now, but we would definitely like to be involved as the plans change. And I think would support reconfiguring it and would like to be involved in kind of the more detailed working out how it's actually going to look and be protected.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, we have some administrative updates from Brent.
just that my take, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can, I think.
Can you hear me now?
No, Gil will come out.
Testing 1, 2, can you hear me now? The green light's on. Oh, here. Oh, is he coming? So we still have some more, there's 3 more items on the agenda under administrative. I think we can discuss those first. My takeaways for the meeting is I need to reach back out to the working group. And I guess some emails from you, Commissioner Garner, aren't getting through to me. I got to find out why that's. I need to set that meeting up so we can start discussing that report, how we can improve ourselves. So I'm going to be reaching out soon on that. I need to, yes, and I need to schedule the subcommittee meetings from 4 to 5. And you'd all like the agendas a week before the meeting and any packets. I'll try to do that, just so you know, it's just me. There's nobody behind me. So, and I'm doing Connect Downtown at the same time. So I'll try to get it to you, and I'll work as hard as I can to get that out to you so you can review it before the meeting. And then I think the next things you have I call it 9A, 9B, 9C, which is you wanted to discuss Commissioner Rogers' meeting length, I think, with the BPAC. And then also something about permanent items. And then Commissioner Garner, you want to talk about walk month and getting that. And I'd love to work with you to get a proclamation for that, and we get that quicker.
Can I propose one agenda item? I'm not sure if this should be an agenda item for next time or just something for us to noodle on, but I have raised this a couple times in the past around attendance more than punctuality, because I get that things happen, and if you show up, I think that's good enough. Although punctuality does certainly matter, but attendance is more important. And I know our commission has 11. Our commission enables 11 commissioners. We have 9 as of today because a second dropped out because of personal reasons. She's moving. So we have 2 vacancies, and I want this to come out respectfully, but I think the 7 around this table are the 7 that I consistently see at every meeting.
Yeah.
So for all intents and purposes, we have 7 active commissioners on a committee of 11. So I think we have 2 kind of projects. One of them is to fill the 2 vacancies. And then in parallel with that, and I believe our bylaws has some language, but I haven't looked at them in at least a few months, but I want us to be I must have said something that go in the back. But I want us to maybe as a committee or as a commission to review the bylaws on punctuality or attendance, I should say, and maybe have some true policies on what it means to be part of a commission.
Somewhere in the code, there is a requirement about that for commissions, boards and commissions, because I think it was passed recently in the last council. And I can't remember what it was. As I remember, it wasn't all that strict, but I may be wrong. So if you could have the lawyers look that up and let us know what it is. I'm not sure anyone's ever been held responsible under it. I'm on another commission, and occasionally we have trouble getting a quorum. The last meeting, one of the members, we had a bare quorum of 5 out of 9. One of the members left, so the meeting was over.
I'll reach out to the mayor's office on the 2 vacancies and see if we can get those filled soon.
I've also noticed we did change to 11, right? Because a lot of on the website and on our agenda, it still says 13, so we need to update that to 11. So we don't look completely delinquent.
I'm sorry? Yes, I can't remember when we set a time limit of an hour and a half. I don't remember a vote on it. But what I propose is that we have no time limit. I'm not aware of any other board or commission that limits itself in that way. You know, unfortunately, I'm on, as I said, on another commission. We've met for 6 and 7 hours. Thankfully, not very often. And I'm certainly not recommending that. I should have walked out of those. But, you know, we're here once a month, and if what we're doing is important, I don't think we should worry about what time it is. So I just suggest that we have no time limit. I don't know if we need a motion to do that or just make the decision. Just keep meeting. I mean, if you need to leave, you can leave. I mean, we have to have a quorum to do anything officially, but just to sit here and listen and talk, we don't necessarily need a quorum.
Fine with me.
Yeah, I was, so Carrie, to the best of your knowledge, is it part of our bylaws that it's an hour and a half? No? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I agree, Carrie. I mean, right now it's 6:40 or, you know, probably be a couple more, you know, at least a few more minutes. And I think that's fine. I mean, I'm not opposed to sort of gatekeeping it just so we can be thoughtful about, you know, and, you know, I know, you know, Courtney, who's got experience with the Amazon way of meeting, right? You know, yeah, well, yeah, well.
No wonder I can't get my orders.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, I agree that if there's certain topics, and, you know, I think today's meeting was very efficient. You know, we had a lot of good meat, but, yeah, I think as a commission, we should probably strive to keep it to under 2 hours, certainly. But, you know, if there's certain things that we really need to extend the time, then by all means.
So really the only change is on the agenda where it says 5 to 6:30, because there's nothing in the bylaws or anything, so I'm good with that if we need to move.
We can buy the chair a gavel, maybe.
I had one the last meeting.
Chair McDonald, the conversation's great. I just want to double check with General Services, we can get the room. We have it till 7:30. I've got them to extend it a half hour. I don't know if we have to get some, but let me reach out to them and make
Okay,
sure.
thanks. Yeah, I don't anticipate us being here all night, but I think it'd be nice to have a little bit more of a leeway. Probably finishing up by 7 o'clock, I would say most nights, but to have that extra half hour, I think could help sometimes to buffer.
And the other item I had is I wanted to add something, I guess it would be to the regular agenda, or maybe it would be new business, a permanent agenda item, and I'm not sure what to call it, but basically giving advice. I mean, that's our primary goal or charge, is to give advice, you know, concrete versus plastic sticks. I don't know if we should pass a resolution in favor of concrete, but for those kind of things, I'd like it to be on the agenda every month so nobody can say that we didn't notice it. And that's, you know, it doesn't say necessarily what kind of advice we're going to give, but it may be, you know, we want to give the school board advice about safe routes to school, because I've been sitting here thinking about that. But at any rate, I would like that to be a permanent agenda item. And again, we can probably think of a better name than just advice giving, but.
How about recommendations?
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, that sounds.
All right, other comments from anybody? I think that was everything except for the subcommittee discussion.
And the walk month resolution.
And the walk month, yeah, proclamation.
Could I suggest that we ask the chair of the Transportation Committee to sponsor that? I think that'd be.
This wouldn't be, so the history of it is that we missed the mark back in May. May was Bike Month. We didn't have our proclamation, our celebration of Bike Month until June. This is not through official council channels, this is not through anything like that. This is simply from our commission that says, hey, this is what we've done, this is what we would like to continue to do, and this is, what we would like to support these efforts moving forward. But since Walk Month is in October, and it is now currently September, I like to try and get ahead of the curve and maybe plan to have a letter that we can vote on, thereby giving notice. So that's what I had in mind.
So are we sending it to the mayor, the council, or just a general public release?
Yeah, the last letter was sent over to the mayor, to the council. Perhaps we could even send it to the school board, because maybe they'd like to know that their kids should get there in other ways other than in a vehicle.
Brent, are you good with drafting that along with KJ for next month? Yes. That'd be great. Yeah, thank you.
We'll put it on the agenda for you.
Yeah, we can vote on it. Perfect. All right, any other business? I think we can go ahead and adjourn, and then people can stay for just a minute, talk about subcommittees. We can do that separately. All right, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're adjourned.
So is this our opportunity?
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.